6 needed, and that could be the winning hit. It is. It's 6 for Lewis Gregory, and Somerset have won by 6 wickets. Tremendous win for Somerset, chasing down 194 to win, with Will Smead leading the way.
Hello there, this is Always Look on the Bright Side of Life, the Somerset Cricket Podcast. My name is Ian Shepherd. Joining me on the Sunday after Somerset have lifted the Vitality Blast Trophy for the second time in 3 years, I've got President of the club, Sir Peter Wanless. Peter, how was it yesterday for you in free beer, free food, hospitality with the board and everyone?
It was magnificent. I mean, I as you will know, I did spend nearly all the time watching the cricket, and because I was driving, I wasn't overdoing it on the free drink. Though I did sink a fair few Guinness Zeros through the course of what was a very long day, it was fantastic, brilliant, and the best team won.
Definitely. And also with me is a man who has seen every single Super Over in the UK, and now was so excited. We saw a tactical retired out, Dan, as well. So you can add that to your CV of things that you've seen.
That was quite the moment, yeah. I would have liked to see the 6 sixes by Chris Lynn as well. That would have been a good one. The main thing was seeing us win a trophy again for the 3rd time in 7 seasons. Amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And finally, the voice of cricket on BBC Radio Somerset, who the BBC deemed unworthy of the commentary to be on catch-up today, causing me a great deal of stress as I tried to locate the moment. He called Lewis Gregory smashing a 6 into the Hollies to seal victories. Of course, Anthony Gibson. Gibbo, well, let's start. I mean, let's start at the start of the day then. The semi-final against Lancashire. I was a hell of a lot more worried during the defence of that total than I was about the pursuit of 190 odd in the final. I mean, let's start right at the beginning. Lose the toss, stuck in. Jimmy Anderson, new ball, slightly moist pitch on a damp morning at Edgbaston. It was, it could have gone badly, but it didn't.
No, it didn't. I always thought we would beat Lancashire because they were so weak. You know, they'd lost 6 of their first team players. The big threats, and there were just 2 of them really, were Keaton Jennings and Liam Livingstone. And when Jennings was out and then Livingstone was given out, I thought we'll be all right here, because the rest of their batting was pretty feeble, in all honesty. With Balderson retiring out, it just, they were a bit of a shambles, apart from Jennings and Livingstone. But if Jennings had batted for another 5 overs, or if Livingstone had batted for another 5 overs, it could have been a very different story. But no, I was always reasonably confident against Lancashire once Livingstone was gone. But and I was always actually reasonably confident against Hampshire. And I think I said this on commentary, for as long as Will Smead was there.
Yeah,
he was masterminding, leading, steering the whole thing so skillfully. I thought, if he can stay in, then we can win this. Yeah. If he gets out, we're in trouble.
I mean, it's testament to the guy that up until this year's Blast, if you'd have said the words Will Smead and calming influence in the same sentence, you would have just been laughed out of Taunton. He's just brought so much more to his game. We'll get on to him in the final. You're absolutely right. You're right. They went off like an absolute rocket, Jennings and Livingstone in the power play. And then as soon as Green and Goldsworthy came on, they almost went into a kind of self-imposed restraint. And the scoring rate absolutely dropped. They lost all their momentum, and that kind of accumulated with Jennings, trying to go from second gear up to 5th and holding out to Craig. By the way, wasn't our fielding absolutely spectacular yet again on finals day? That was very strange to me, Dan. We were sort of sat watching it together, and it was a strange old innings.
Yeah, in T20 cricket, it sounds strange, but it's risky to slow down after the power play. It's risky to have that consolidation period, because they were 2 down at the end of the power play, and if you have that slowdown period and then accidentally lose a couple of wickets, suddenly you've got new batters in, and you're behind the rate, and Michael Jones, he got 36 or 35, which is a poor innings, and they knew that obviously Livingston was the guy they were relying on, and once he got out, the innings just fell away, didn't it? Really, I mean, obviously that they had Arav Shetty making his T20 debut, which just shows how hard hit they were. But yeah, it was a combination of a strange approach from them and also just very good middle overs bowling from us. I mean, Greener took 2 for 21 from 4 overs. Largely unnoticed, I think. I didn't really notice at the time how good his figures were, but Golders again as well, very effective in middle overs of 2 overs for 15. So we pulled it back really nicely, and our experience and know-how told against a pretty inexperienced middle order. Once Livingston was out.
Yeah, and a middle order so inexperienced that Balderson wasn't even trusted by his own team in a tight run chase. I mean. Is that the first ever retired out in the Vitality Blast?
I think there's been one previously. I think it was something to do. My brother was saying this yesterday. I think it was to do with Carlos Brathwaite a few years ago. I'm just googling it now.
I mean, there's so many.
And Samit Patel as well. In 2022, Carlos Brathwaite and Samit Patel both retired out tactically in the same game. So not the first.
The same team, or?
No, Brathwaite was Warwickshire and Patel was not. I think he was still not at that point.
I'm presuming Samit Patel was maybe on the penultimate ball of the last over to get somebody else on strike who could run a single a bit quicker. Is that what it was for?
It was, yeah. You're quite right, Ships.
Oh, you could write some of this. You could write some of this, could you? I mean, that was, but the way it backfired, Peter, was just absolutely. It was just. I don't know what was the kind of the reception like to that decision from the sort of the Lancashire cohort up with the various boards around where you were.
Yeah, I think it was. I mean, it was curious, wasn't it? And people weren't entirely sure immediately what was going on, but the juxtaposition of retiring Balderson and Tom Hartley coming in and hitting the next ball straight up in the air and being caught was classic. Everyone's looking at one another and saying, "Well, what a tactical masterclass that was!" It was hilarious, and when you combine that with Lancashire's kind of keystone Cobbs fielding throughout the entirety of the Somerset innings, which was kind of shoddy in the extreme, there was a kind of comedy caper element to their to their performance, which wasn't a great advert for their cricket. As you say, their team was significantly weakened, and Livingston must have felt that incredible pressure on his shoulders. And I think he's one of these guys who's not short of an ego, and why would you be when you've got his talent? But he almost was seeing himself as bigger than the game, wasn't he? I mean, yes, it was a dubious decision, but it took him an awful long time to get off the field, and he was certainly letting everyone know what his view was about whether it is bat or his pad first.
I mean, he was certainly getting a lot of shit from the crowd, which was, by the way, Somerset fans, give yourself a pat on the back. I put on Twitter, but just before play started, I did a lap of the ground around the concourses, and Somerset fans were just absolutely everywhere compared to fans of the other three counties. So, that's why we are what we are. But my stance is slightly softened on this, because although he was, we'll get off the pitch, this descent, he knew that he was the game. Without being, and you can say what you like about the fellow, he's arrogant, he's arrogant, he's this, that, but he knows that he is the best player in that lineup by a country mile. Now, when Keaton Jennings goes, and if I would probably have done the same. If I know that I've hit it and the technology has failed, I can go to the umpire and say, "Look, I've definitely hit that. What's going on? Why isn't the technology picked it up? Is the technology faulty? Is there anything else you can do? Have you exhausted all avenues to try and prove that I've hit this ball?" And
well, it's the third umpire's answer, wasn't it? She said there's a clear gap between bat and ball. And whatever else there was, there certainly wasn't a clear gap between bat and ball.
Well, I've only had the opportunity to see it on the big screen, which is not the the most clear of resolutions. So I'll have to watch it back
it's perfectly possible it hit the pad before the bat, but to say that there was a clear gap between bat and ball just defies belief. From what we could see on Sky Television at the time.
There's two spikes, wasn't there? There's a little spike and there was a big spike. And the neutral, I think, would probably think that the first spike was the bat. But it is what it is.
Is that
it was given out on the field, and so yeah,
I think being given out on the field, I don't know if that officially makes a difference, because it's not like it's with Nicks. It's not like umpire's call, is it?
No, it's not. No.
But the thing is, my question is, was there a obvious deflection? Like, if you're looking at it front on, did it obviously deflect off the bat?
Don't think it did.
Well, no. I didn't think it was out. I thought there were two sounds. Whether it was pad first and then bat or not, but when the umpire's finger went up, I was as surprised as anyone, as surprised as Liam Livingston. He didn't look out from the commentary position, but then I was listening to through the effects mic to what Sue Redfern was saying, and she said, quote unquote, "There's a clear gap between bat and ball." And
was this where the ball was halfway down the pitch? There
wasn't a clear gap between bat and ball. Anyone with eyes to see could see that was not the case. It was a marginal call one way or the other. But to say there was a clear gap just seemed extraordinary.
Now, to me, I mean, I haven't watched it back. All I've seen is what I saw on the screen in the ground. But to me, that is kind of a red herring, the fact that she said that, because from what I saw on the screen, it looked like when there was no frame where the ball was next to the bat, which had a spike on Ultra Edge. There was the frame where the ball was on his pad or on his leg, where there was the big spike, but there was also that other sort of thin spike, which may or may not have been it hitting the bat. And I don't know if that is conclusive enough proof that he hit it in order to overturn the decision. So that's just my view. Maybe I need to see it again, but I'm very surprised at the amount of anger that Lancashire fans showed on Twitter. Some of it, was obviously sexist, misogynistic. Like, I'm surprised that there was that much anger about a decision which, for me, was inconclusive at best. I think it's harsh to say that it was definitely a mistake by the third umpire.
I think there was quite a lot of surprise, even from in our area where there were representatives of all the four clubs. I think there was quite a bit of surprise at the decision, including from the people present from Somerset, that we got the benefit of a dodgy decision there, which isn't to say that there was still a fair way to go, but as you have said, so much depended on Livingston, and he knew that, and we knew that, and that was the turning point, wasn't it? After that, they kind of fell apart, and the rest of their performance was more reminiscent of the comedy of errors of the first half. But if that had gone the other way, Livingston was the one player who could have taken it away from us for sure.
I mean, summing it up, looking at what I saw on the big screen, there wasn't, and if I was sat in that third umpire's chair, I don't think there was enough from the technology that was shown to me to overturn it. So whoever would have been in that chair, whether it's Sue Redfern or Dickie Bird or David Shepherd or Billy Bowden or whoever it was, would have been virtually impossible, and they would have all come to the same decision, I think.
Because there was no frame where the ball was on the bat with the spike. No. That's I think the key for me as to why it was hard to overturn that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably wasn't out.
Hey, look in the book. That's what they say, Gibbo.
Well, if it had been one of ours, that would have been our unanimous decision.
Well, I would like to think we would have been disappointed, but pragmatic enough to say
you're turning into Don Topley.
No, how do I boot Gibbo off this thing here?
If it had been one of us, we would have another 3 or 4 to come in that we could have relied on. That was the difference.
That's the thing.
And then we're back to Gibbo's point from the beginning that this was a rather weakened Lancashire team, and we did benefit from that as well. They were. I mean, Sultan Butler did rather well the night before, didn't they?
And I'm just wondering if as you say, the Lancashire fans' frustration has kind of sort of built to a fulcrum, and it's hit that LBW, and it's all, we got no salt, we got no butter, we got no wood, and it's all just coming out now because of that contentious LBW decision. But after that, Somerset bowlers just did their job, wrapped it up with a minimum of fuss. I mean, Sue Redfern did apparently try and make it 1-1 by calling a no ball that allegedly wasn't. I've not seen it either way, but that was 6 no ball 6, which was 14 off 1 ball.
Yeah, it cost us 8 runs. Cost us 8 runs.
And that ever so briefly just brought Lancashire back within touching distance of the Duckworth Lewis, with the clouds coming over behind us in the RES Wyatt stand and the rain just about to start, which made the retired out decision even more baffling, because by doing that you are costing yourselves X amount of runs on the Duckworth Lewis with the rain potentially coming. So you're already
in the bin in the first place, though.
Yeah.
I mean, he was only in there for about 10 minutes, I suppose.
What have you got? 7 off 6.
Yeah.
And he hadn't hit a boundary.
Why didn't they just send Hartley in?
Well,
yeah, they were 142 for 6 when Bowlerson came in off 16.4 overs, and 9 balls later they added 10 runs and Bowlerson came out again. So it was retired out. So Hartley should have come in when they lost that 6th wicket, 100%. If he was the better 6-hitter, if they see him as the better 6-hitter, he should have come in.
Yeah. Oh well, all's well that ends well. Miguel Pretorius came back well, finished it off, bowled the last over in pretty horrendous rain, just to get the game done instead of waiting, because I mean it was done. They needed 29 off 5, I think, and then it got it down to sort of 25 off 3 or something like that. But the game was mathematically over at the time, so it made sense just to play on in whatever conditions rather than hanging around just to call it off in a bit later on due to Duckworth Lewis. And then we had the lull.
I had one other story from the Lancashire game, which is that Harry Everett, who blagged his way into the hospitality
I was
section.
Invited in by you.
Yes, and you were appropriately dressed. Harry looked like he was about to go off to the beach or something. But anyway, he was there, and he spotted that Dame Sarah Story was there, and he said, "Oh, Dame Sarah Story's here. What's she?" And I said, "Oh, she's the president of Lancashire County Cricket Club, recently appointed." And he sort of looked at me and announced to everyone around the table, "So how come Lancashire get the UK's most elite decorated Paralympian ever for their president, and we get him?"
And you texted me that, and I was going to reply, I never knew you were a Paralympian, Peter, but I couldn't quite word it to sort of make it fit. But I mean, you have had quite a storied career. I mean, I got a fractured skull from some of the names that you dropped in about a 30-second period, or telling an anecdote about your days in Whitehall. But anyway, I'm sure we can.
Oh, it was fun. It was good old Harry. Anyway, he popped up throughout the day, didn't he? We may return to him later.
You didn't win that picture, did you?
No, not so far as I'm aware.
No, me neither.
We were all being hassled for a signed picture of Jimmy Anderson.
Come on, Peter. Right, this was for the PCA, which is a charity, and as a former charity chief executive, whose representatives I have been inquired to on the street, you can't say hassled.
I'm familiar with the detail of the fundraising regulators, what you can do and what you can't do. But anyway, both of us generously bought tickets and donated to the PCA, didn't we? Even though we would rather have had a signed photograph of Lewis Gregory or Matt Henry or Craig Overton.
Yeah, but it was the prize was A3, was it? Signed glossy print of Jimmy Anderson in his I think it was in his final test for England, so that was a prize, and I'm sure 20 quid for 3 tickets. They probably raised quite a few £1,000 for that one. Yes, well, all of the stats and the noise over the last week has been Somerset were in the first semi-final, and the first semi-finalists the winners of the first semi-finalists have a terrible record in the final for the last 5 or 6 years, Dan, something like that.
6 were winning the second.
Yeah. So Somerset swerved it, and hats off. It was a great decision. They decided to abandon the stadium, completely forget about cricket, go back to the hotel, have some family time. I don't know, a bit of Uno, bit of Dobble, bit of Jigsaws, bit of Call of Duty, whatever, and then come back to the stadium, reset, and come back for the final. And that paid off in spades, because apparently last year sides had just sort of sat around on their phones, falling asleep, just trying to kill time like expectant fathers outside a delivery room in the old days. And
I think what really paid off in spades was the fact that Hampshire only had about half an hour between finishing one semi-final and playing in the final. Chris Lynn was knackered. It was a brilliant toss to win, that one. Absolutely brilliant toss to win, because not only were Hampshire, Chris Lynn only scored 108 off 51 deliveries or whatever it was. It was a fantastic innings, but he was clearly worn out. But the fact that we won the toss and they had to bowl, with a wet ball and field with a wet ball made a big difference in the final analysis.
Do you think they'd have opted to chase in the final if they won the toss? Do you think they'd have wanted to chase as well?
I don't know. That's very, who knows? But it was a fantastic toss for us to win, because it really was. They were drying the ball after every delivery in the Somerset innings, and it made it very, very tough for Fortuyn, whatever, Fortain, get his name right, the slow left armour, who was a very good bowler, but he was seriously handicapped by the wet ball. But can't take away the innings of Will Smeed, which was,
although it didn't look like a fantastic toss to win when they were 90 odd off the first 6 overs.
Sorry, can we pause? I feel we've done Tom Kohler-Cameron a disservice by not
absolutely.
He's not in the semi-final as well, because we mentioned Jimmy Anderson, new ball, early morning September, and I can't remember if we'd hit record when you were talking about TKC with his little baby, but we talked last week about maturing and what having kids does that to you, and sort of growing into a father, and how it changes you. And I think that innings was so patient and so mature. Somebody slagged me off on Twitter, but they vehemently disagreed with me when I said that he's paid, when he tweeted that he's brought up his 50, that he's not scored quick enough, he's this, that, and the other. It's like, he has got the measure of the pitch. They may have lost some batters, Lancashire, but they still got some bloody good bowlers in their ranks, and they're operating in very, very favourable conditions. And what do you get with 81 off 52 in those conditions was absolutely vital. And if that's on a flat pitch, that for TKC, that's probably 130 off 40 balls.
Yeah,
that is that level of innings that he played, and it was just brilliant.
Yeah, I think I'm right in saying that he was 33 not out after 10 overs, and because I remember thinking, I wonder if he's ever batted 10 overs in a game like this and only scored 33. He would have hit one up in the air and been caught. And we'll come on to talk about Will Smeed as well, but he was hitting it along the ground rather than in the air, and it would have been, the boundaries were big, weren't they? Maybe this is what's happened. Now I'm watching more cricket at Taunton. I realise I have greater appreciation for quite how small our ground is compared to others. But there's quite a few sixes which we would hit at home, which would have been caught in the deep with no trouble at Edgbaston. They seem to have pushed the boundaries right out.
It was good, wasn't it? The boundaries were good. The pitch was fantastic as well. It's the best finals day probably of any one that there's been, because it was a good pitch, good outfield, big boundaries, which brought the spinners into the game. I thought it was just a great day's cricket. Apart from beside the fact that we won, any neutral there would have had a fantastic play.
Yeah, because pitch started off a bit damp because it was damp. It rained a hell of a lot overnight. I got to ground about 8 o'clock because I didn't have anything better to do, basically. So I got absolutely drenched at the races at Salisbury. And I got to Birmingham about 10:30. Went in, quickly got changed. And I thought there was quite a few little pubs near where I was. So I went and had a couple of pints and then sort of went to bed and got up. Well, woke up at 5, couldn't get back to sleep. So, I did get back to sleep to about 6. Got up, had a shower, thought, right, I might as well go to the ground. And it was, it was a lot. You can tell when you've woken up in the morning, there's just sort of that surface water everywhere. It must have rained a lot in the night, and the cleanup operation was underway, but the pitch was looking pretty green and pretty damp. But by the time it had got to 11 o'clock, it had just changed colour a little bit, so it was drying out. And then, as you say, Gibbo, the longer it got into the day, the better it got for batting. It was never a road. It was never one of those horrible IPL pitches where it's 260 plays 260, and the bowlers, you might as well just have a bowling machine pumping it down for all the good it's going to do. Bowlers were in the game, and batters were in the game if they batted well, and it produced 3 cracking games. Well, apart from the second semi was kind of in the balance until Chris Lynn decided to go ballistic on poor old Pope.
That was good in itself. Lynn's century, the first ever in finals. Wonderful knock.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw my tweet. It was the
6, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was the second highest ever scoring finals day as well, after 2022.
I just wonder if he got given out LBW for a laugh on the 6th ball of that over, because that was never out. Oh, virtually everybody in the ground could see that he was about 6 foot outside the line. I just wondered if the umpire did it for a laugh, because the game was pretty much done, and he wanted to give old side. I wasn't Sue in the chair for that game, was it? So it would have been nice to see Northants come through, but we renewed our rivalry with Hampshire, who we'd already beaten twice in the group stage. So Somerset confident in that respect. Yes, we circle back. We were talking about the toss, weren't we? It was a lot of chatter on social media about runs on the board in the final versus Somerset backing their method. And once we won the toss, there was no way we were doing anything other than opting to chase, because to change would kind of admit defeat and almost say that, we like chasing in group stages at Taunton when you got short boundaries and the pitch is good, but we don't think we're good enough to chase on a finals day when the pressure's on. That's not Lewis Gregory's style. That's not the style that he's put into his troops in that team. And, well, it showed, didn't it? I mean, I was struck by the similarities to last Saturday's game, the quarter-final against the Bears.
Well, all 3 games are similar in the sense that the opposition have got off to a fast start. Warwickshire, I think, were 81 for 2, the Bears rather, 81 for 2. Lancashire 73 for 1, and Hampshire were 83 for 1, I think.
I've got it written down here, Gibbo. So there's quite a lot of eerie similarities here. Bears 82 for 1.
Yeah.
Hampshire 83 for 1.
Yeah.
The overseas bowled an over that went for 24 in the power play against the Bears. The overseas bowled an over that went for 25 in the power play against Hampshire. So there's your extra 1.
Yeah.
And everybody on social media was going, "Oh, for God's sake, we've lost this game and we're not going to win the Vitality Blast this year."
Yeah.
So it was. It kind of reminded me of last year at finals day when everybody was all doom and gloom against Surrey when we were 7 for 3, and I just cheekily put out a tweet said, "Hey everybody, remember when nobody thought we were going to beat Surrey 2 days ago and we ended up beating Surrey?" And I thought I'll try that again this year, and it worked. So I'll take that one. Thank you very much.
What Dan was saying though, that if you've got a big score in the power play, sides then tend to sort of relax, take the pressure off, and think, "Oh well, we can just knock it around for a few overs," and that brings the bowlers back into the game. And that's what happened in all 3 of those games. Quarterfinal, semi-final, and the final. They had Somerset down, but they didn't finish them off in the way that they might have done. And Somerset, because we had that sort of breathing space, the bowlers, came right back into the game and bowled really well for the rest of the innings. And I think that's an important lesson for us as well. For the future. Well, there are two lessons from it. One is that we shouldn't go for 80 in the power play. It's only about that.
Hey, it's not a lucky
the other
number.
thing is, if we score 80 in the power play, don't take your foot off the accelerator. Keep going.
We never would, because we have got the personnel to do it. And I think if you look at the other lineups at finals day, they haven't, or they didn't feel confident.
You say that, but when Sean Dixon came in, and after Tom Abel was out, and Sean Dixon came in, if it hadn't been for Will Smeed, the innings would have stalled. I think I can't remember what partnership but they put on about 40 together, of which Dixon has scored 7. He was scratching around at the start, and the innings would have stalled then if it hadn't have been for Will Smeed.
Well, I was sort of talking about batting first. So
whichever way it is, I don't think it makes much difference whether you're batting first or batting second. You can't afford to take your foot off the gas at the end of a power play.
I felt that we when they got 195, I was feeling pretty positive, because I think this team has got the batting and the depth and the discipline and the options to be able to chase something down, and that wasn't necessarily the collective feeling of the group, and I was worried I was being a little bit naive, and normally I'm negative about Somerset's prospects of winning anything, but partly in my mind I also was thinking about another couple of fixtures which were very similar, which were those two group games at home against Middlesex and against Kent, where we let Middlesex score an absolute shed load of runs, and then we chased them down, and then it was even a couple of days later, wasn't it? We played Kent, and the same thing happened, and Kent scored slightly fewer, I think, than Middlesex, and we just kept saying to ourselves, "Oh, we can chase down anything." And we didn't quite make it, and so that was the risk. The difference between those two games and the quarter-final and the final is what our bowlers did after the power play, and this ability to kind of drag back the scoring rate from having to chase something that is 210, 220, 230 to something under 200 was really good. And Craig talked about that, didn't he? I think in one of his interviews about it's Dixon, wasn't it? He said, don't underestimate. I finished it off, but don't underestimate what those bowlers did in the second half of the innings, and that definitely a strength of ours. So there's definitely learnings for next season, like how we're going to bowl better in the power play, but from overs, especially 10 to 20.
I mean, who's going to bowl as well is because obviously we lose a few players from the squad, but we'll come onto that in a moment. Dan, my new superstition now is to watch the first half of the game from the press box, and then come out and sit with you in the stands to watch the second half, because that works now. That's the formula. You were a complete nervous wreck while we were defending that total against Lancashire, but in the run chase, well, actually, all four of us, really, myself, you, Matt, your brother, and Phil, your dad, were, I think, a bit more relaxed, because we'd had the precedent of these sort of run chases, particularly the one against the Bears the week before, and it was kind of following that same pattern. The pitch was getting better, and it was not quite as nerve-wracking as sort of people are kind of making it out to be. I don't know. That's my perspective. I never felt that we weren't going to chase that down.
Yeah, I think I was up and down through the innings. I mean, when we were 89 for 3, I was obviously a little bit concerned, and I think obviously Dicker then took a few balls to get going. The required rate did go up a bit then, but it never stayed high for that long, the required rate. And we always, while Smeed was there, we had a big chance, as Gibber's already said. and it largely we were in control. And I think it just shows. And this goes to TKC as well as Smee. They are just elite T20 batters. They work so hard on their game. They play red ball cricket. Smee has returned to red ball cricket. Obviously, TKC has been playing it for his whole career. Playing that helps, I think. They've got so much clarity. They've got so much experience from around the world. They just really know what they're doing. And I think obviously this is, our 5th finals day in a row, TKC's 4th finals day in a row, because he was there in 2022 with Yorkshire. They have so much experience. And it was against a Hampshire attack, which is, decent, but there's a reason they lost 6 or 7 games in the group stage. Like they're not sensational. And exactly. Chris Wood's been around a while. I mean, Baker is still raw. Scott Curry's a bit raw. But Fuller and Howell are aging as well. I mean, I was nervous about Howell bowling initially, but then his figures ended up 4 overs to 45. So we are a better side than Hampshire, I think, and it showed thankfully on the day.
He got injured, didn't he, Chris Wood?
Yeah, I didn't realise till after the game, but I think
I only sort of saw that when I was watching it back this morning. Big moment though was that drop catch, wasn't he? I don't know what it was. Scott Curry, wasn't it, out the wicket boundary? I mean, I'm not quite sure how he was trying to take that, because the fielding coaches will tell you, look after the ball. That was sort of Max Waller's phrase, is you take it high, and if you fumble it, you've got another go and potentially another go. Look at that catch that Sophie Love dropped/catched in the women's game a few months ago. That's exactly what we're talking about. But he was kind of sort of squatting down when he tried to take it. So Lord knows what happened there. But that was a big moment in the game.
I think we would still have won. Even if that catch had been taken, I think we still had enough batting with Lewis Gregory and Ben Green and Craig Overton to have won the game.
Yeah.
I don't think that was decisive.
That touches on another element of why we're so good, and what set us apart from the other teams at finals day was that we bat so deep. And it's not, we didn't really need them, obviously. Like Goldsworthy didn't bat, and yet somehow his batting did contribute to us getting those big totals on the day because of the insurance of him being there. The batters know he's there. The batters know that Craig Overton's there, that Miguel Pretorius is there, that Ben Green is there. We bat so far down, and that is massive in T20 cricket to have a deep batting lineup. It just gives the batters at the top license. It means they don't have to worry about, if we lose a few early wickets, we're really struggling.
Yeah.
So it means we can just keep going and keep going. Whereas you look at Hampshire, they had Fortain at 8, Scott Curry at 9. I mean, I'm not sure what Fortain's batting is like, but they definitely did not have as deep a batting lineup as us. For sure. They have James Fuller coming in at 4, which I know he was promoted to smash it, but he's primarily a bowler. So
another parallel.
So we batted down to 10, and from sort of, and then you've got sort of from Green down, you could put Overton, Pretorius, or Goldsworthy in pretty much any order depending on the situation, and Jake Ball is more than capable of nudging a single to get somebody else back on strike. So effectively, going back to Gillo's point about the power play, that's why other sides weren't going, because they were like, oh God, if we now hole out, lose 2 quick wickets, we are in the proverbial here, because we ain't got a lot to come. Whereas Somerset are like, well, let's just keep going. And it's not the case of you falling in that trap of having too many batters. They seem to be very, very good at avoiding that. You see it sometimes when the side's got so much batting that they end up being 45 all out or something stupid, or completely underperforming because everybody just leaves it to everybody else. But they're so well driven. They've got such a good ethic and mindset that they think, it's not, I'm going to go out there, play positive. I'm going to play properly, play proper cricket shots, assess the conditions as well, like TKC did, like Smee did, and not just go out there playing silly shots, thinking that the guy behind you will do it. They're taking responsibility, playing proper aggressive cricket shots. If they get out, they've got to make sure that they are got out properly, if that makes sense, not just having a massive slog, that they are executing the shot to the best of their ability. And if they get out, they get out, but somebody else will do it.
TKC's shot in a game against Hampshire wasn't a great one.
No, that is true. That was the Yorker off Sunny, wasn't it?
Yeah, he premeditated a pull shot. and it was a blooming
Sonny
good
Baker
Yorker
probably
from
probably
Sonny Baker. But if he hadn't premeditated, he could just have kept it out or even nudged it down to final third man.
He's probably got it written in his book, Sonny. TKC will premeditate if he twitches like this.
He probably
Yorker.
has. Terrific. It was one of the moments of the day, that though. I mean, it was a terrific delivery from one of ours, as he was.
Yeah, it was. It was nice to see Sonny at the finals. They all shame it wasn't wearing the dragon, unfortunately.
You played against him, Sheps?
Played against his dad. No, I'm a bit. Dad. Yeah, I got the worst ever decision. Speaking of bad decisions, I got the worst ever caught behind given out of his dad. But dodgy, sort of a bit of a dodgy deck down at Torquay. We bowled him out for about 95, I think, and. Ian is his dad, coming towards the end of his career, so he's sort of bowling little mediums. Keeper Matt Thompson, who's been Devon's keeper now for Yonks, has stood up, and he's bowled one. It's sort of shortish, and I've gone back to cut it, but it's just boom, and it's got really big. So I've dropped my hands on it. Keeper's had to go out like this. It's flicked the top of his gloves and been caught at slip. So I'm just stood there. Point. It's gone. How? Ooh. Nobody else has appealed. Ian Baker's gone the other. Well, how's that then? How's that? And yeah, boom, gun smoke. Oh, livid. We ended up losing the game. I'm not saying that I would have, got us over the line, but it was a bit nip and tuck. I think we needed about another 25 when I was out. So that's my only experience playing against a member of the Baker family. But thankfully, he wasn't bowling at 90 odd mile an hour. Yeah. But we never wish anybody ill who leaves Taunton, and I'm sure Sonny will have a better week than he's had the last few days with his pretty.
He needs looking after.
Pretty grueling debut for England, I think we can call it. Yeah. But looking forward to seeing a lot more Sonny over the years.
I was just going to touch on another parallel between the quarter-final and the final, which was I remember. A wicket fell for Somerset, and one of the Bears committee sort of turned to me and said, well, I think that's the game. And they really didn't want to tempt fate, and we were a long way behind the game at that point. And at that moment, Lewis Gregory is walking out to the middle, and I just said to him, that is Lewis Gregory. And at that point he realised, I shouldn't have said that, because Lewis Gregory is a major figure in the game, and he inspires confidence. And he didn't, in and of himself, in that particular innings in the quarter-final, win the game for us. But it was exactly the same in that last over. So Smead has played this fantastic innings, sadly doesn't quite manage to get his century, is out off the first ball of the over, and in strides Lewis Gregory. And you just think, if ever there was a man for the moment, here is, Captain Fantastic coming to finish the game off. And my goodness, what he did in those 5 balls was, there were a number of candidates for President's Champagne moment of the season, I think, within that over. But,
can you give it to
what
George
a signature.
Can you give it to George?
Can we have a brain fade moment, don't we? Is it allowed to be by the opposition?
I think we've already given the brain. I've already given myself the brain fade for missing the turn-in for the M4 and ended up just outside Gloucester when I was going to Chelmsford earlier in the year. So, but I think we certainly, we'll give it. We'll give it to someone in the professional game. I mean that's definitely up there. So I've completely forgotten what we were talking about. And I've gone off.
Lewis Gregory.
Lewis Gregory, yeah.
Captain Cool.
Well, yeah. I mean, he just came in and thought, should we just get the game done? Let's just do it. And just knowing you're good enough, it was 4 down to fine leg, 6 back over the bowler's head, 2 play and miss, and then a flick, a little shimmy across, flick into the hollies, tantalisingly close to 2 fielders, just coming over the rope enough, but gives it the big one, and Somerset are Vitality Blast champions. Can we rewind again? Because we haven't talked about Will Smead properly yet and given him the flowers that he deserves for that. Bit of chat going around various people in the press box about Will Smead's averages for Birmingham Phoenix, which I think is about 30 versus Somerset finals day, which is 13. It's a little bit apples and oranges because it is knockout cricket versus group cricket, but cool. Turned up when it mattered, didn't he? And it wasn't that Will Smeed. He's changed. He's matured as a player. We talked about it with TKC. He's done it as well now, recognising that, you know, I'm going to be here. This is my time now. I've not delivered enough for Somerset in knockout cricket. I want that player of the match medal. I want that bottle of champagne. I want to be the one that everyone's hugging and slapping on the back at the end of the match. I am going to go out and win this game for my team, and he did.
That learning he's done over the years, it's paid off for him. Yeah, I'm so happy for him. It's just a shame he didn't quite get the century. But...
yeah, he seems utterly determined. It's almost
like... I know. It's his 4th score in the 90s for us. Plus he has 2 in the PSL. So if you exclude the 100, he's not got a century in a proper T20 match.
Well, he hasn't got a century in T20 cricket, has he? He's got a century in 100 handball cricket.
T20, isn't it? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's...
Why don't we pick him for the county championship then? Eh?
Well, we should. I still think
really to lose. I was really disappointed looking at the squad for the Hampshire game that he wasn't in it.
I still think he's just not quite technically there, and he's still quite.
Well, give him a chance. I mean, he's committed to play red ball cricket, and he hasn't been given a go. I think it's he'll go if we're not careful.
It was
if he wants to play red ball cricket and he can't play it for Somerset, he'll go off somewhere else, like so many of others of our good players.
If he wants to play Championship cricket, we'll just put him on loan to Leicester, and he'll come back, and he won't want to leave. And
well,
no, I do agree. There was the great fanfare about it. I wonder whether he did it not because he wanted necessarily to be a regular in that Championship side, but whether he did it just to benefit his white ball cricket.
No, Jamie Cox told me during the winter that he regretted going for white ball. He wanted to be a complete cricketer, and he wanted to play red ball cricket in the county championship for Somerset. That was his motivation. There wasn't anything cynical about it at all, and that was in about January, I suppose, when I chatted to Jamie Cox about it. And I do think it's a serious point. It's the sort of point that Andy Hurry made to me during the week. If we don't give opportunities to our young players to play the sort of cricket that they want, they will go elsewhere. And Ben Green is the classic example. He wants to play red ball cricket. He can't get in the Somerset side. He hasn't been given the chances recently until now, when he's been brought back from Leicestershire, where he was going to be on loan. And you can't blame him for wanting to go and play all format cricket in the first division, as it will be next season for Leicestershire. And good luck to him. But if we want to keep our homegrown players, we have to give them the opportunities, which is why it's quite right for Somerset to release Sean Dixon, not to give another contract.
Yes, that news, of course, came out between our last recording and tonight. Sean Dixon is leaving for Glamorgan. He was not offered a new contract. Red ball, white ball, all formats or otherwise. Gibbo's had enough. I don't know what's happened there, Gibbo, but we'll carry on regardless. Gave quite a candid interview as well in the week, saying that he was he really, really wanted to win that game against the Bears last week to basically prove that they'd made the wrong decision. And potentially we have, potentially we haven't. I personally I can understand the reasons. I don't necessarily agree with them, but what do you guys think?
I just about agree with the reasons. I think it's difficult to justify keeping him on and him taking a spot of guys like James Rue, Thomas Rue, Tom Lammonby, who are not regulars in our T20 side. At the end of the day, Dick is only going to be playing one format for us going forward, and that's T20. And he's obviously been absolutely unbelievable for us. But I think James Rue and Thomas Rue could be better than him in time, in the future. So I think we've got to be giving them those chances now, especially James Rue, because he could get in the T20 side of probably most other counties. Now is the time for him. It's this naturally his evolution naturally, I think, dictates that now is kind of the time for him to play T20 cricket more regularly at this stage of his career. You know, next year will be his 5th season on a full-time contract, I think. You know, it is time for him, and he's definitely good enough, as he showed on Finals Day last year. So, and I think one day he will be even better than Dicko. So it's obviously a massive shame to see Dicko go. I'm really sad.
Yeah.
Because he has been unbelievable. But I think it is, on balance, the right decision. But as Andy Hurry said, you got to make tough decisions in sport sometimes. And I think it's probably the right one.
I feel for Tom Lammonby in this context as well, and that he would walk into just about any other T20 side as well. And the other thing, which we don't know, and it's impossible really to sort of talk about from an informed position, and unless you're right at the centre of the kind of populating the squad. But in order to attract people to the club from beyond, they have to have sufficient belief that they're going to be able to break into the Somerset squad as a all format player as well. So if you line up too many people who only play in one format, then that has some sort of risk as well. Now, I don't say that from any, just for the avoidance of doubt, I don't say that from any particularly informed position, but theoretically, that must be the case. So we've got a limited budget, we've got a limited number of slots, and we know that we need to bring players in for next season as well. So we've also got to create a context in which they can see, there is some possibility of me getting a game in each of the formats at Somerset.
I mean, from my perspective, I think the batting is. I don't think we need to recruit any batters. It's 8 o'clock, by the way. Kibbo's clock going off. Yeah, I mean, I love debate. I mean, we don't have to agree on everything all the time. That would be terribly dull. From my perspective, I'd like to think that I've got a player who is a proven match winner, regardless of age, who is a rock, who I know is a professional with a great head on his shoulders, who is who has done it for me on the big stage on more than one occasion, and he's somebody that I can bank on, which can be a rarity in professional sport. So there's the other side of the argument. So, as you say, Peter, it's not a choice that would have been easy to make. Are we probably fully informed about everything? Probably not. But it is a shame. And I last night, just I was sort of getting ready to leave the ground. I thought, you know what, I'll do a little topper tweet to that video that I put up saying "Sun in Brum" at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I was sort of walking through the concourse under the main stand, and I sort of nipped up, and I was going to take a picture and just say 14 and a half hours later, time to go home. And the stadium was virtually empty. There were about 5 or 6 crew putting disassembling the stage where they'd had the trophy lift, and there was one figure walking across the outfield solo in this massive bowl of a stadium. So literally the only person I could see, and it was Sean Dixon making his way back from sort of meeting family and friends over in the Raglan stand, where they sang Blackbird, over to the dressing rooms in the main stand. And I thought, God, I wish I'd taken a picture of it. I didn't, but it would have, Harry Trump would have loved it. Just the stadium where he's had Surrey rescuing us on 7 for 3, top scorer in 2 days in finals day, walking off, to a new chapter in his career. And it was just such a fantastic sight, just solo in this great big cavernous bowl of a stadium. So it was quite poignant. I quickly ran on, sort of shook his hand and wished him all the best. And farewell, Sean Dixon. Long live the Will Smead party barn.
Yeah, what a difference a week makes.
Well, yeah, I mean, was it ever officially named? Did you ever break the champagne on the hole, so to speak?
No, not yet. It's still, still to be determined.
Fair enough. Well, if you do let us know, because we still obviously seem to get there for the housewarming as well. Right, should we talk about Yorkshire versus Somerset, or Somerset versus Yorkshire in the Championship for an hour? Probably not. I mean,
Got about that,
I know it was just one of those games that never really started. I mean, Tom Abel obviously batted brilliantly for 100, and on a full final day, we may have got through 20 Yorkshire wickets because they kind of looked a little bit like they didn't want to be there. But at the end of the day, thwarted by the weather. That was a quick assessment. What was that, about 45 seconds? We did that for every single game. It's been the shortest podcast on the market. Anything else on finals day then? Obviously, just one point I was going to make about finals day. Did you feel slightly, not less excited about this one, but it felt different? This one's 2023. And I was sort of thinking about this for me, because I think 2023, we've been so close so many times, and to finally do it, it was just this cathartic release of emotion. And I was like, oh, finally, we've done it. This year, it felt like, right, we are the top dogs. We got knocked off our perch. Can a dog get knocked off a perch? You know what I mean? Knocked off a perch last year by the Glofters. And this year was like, we know we are the best side. Statistically, historically, on form. And we just went and did it. And everything is right in the world. And we got the right result. And everyone's happy.
Yeah. I think it felt like, we were building further on 2023. It feels like, I don't know if we can say we've built a dynasty now. Maybe we need one more title to say that, but we've now, 5 finals in a row, 2 titles, and I think to back up 2 years ago with another one, is a great achievement. To be this consistent in T20 cricket, a format that's so volatile. If you look at our records since the start of 2021, I don't know I have the numbers off the top of my head, but the number of games we've won compared to the number
with some absolute random shit during the Lancashire run chase.
I know.
It was like, oh my god, there was a 4 off the 5th ball of the over. Jimmy Anderson's not been up for a 4 off the 5th ball of the over since the 2010 finals day.
Stop exaggerating. The sheer consistency we've had in T20 cricket, I think we deserved another. We really needed another trophy to really solidify how good we have been in the last few years. To have fallen short again would have been gutting, I think. To have gone to 5 finals in a row, lost 3 finals as well as a semi-final, only won once. Despite how consistent we have been in the last 5 years, probably the team with the most wins in the country. Maybe Surrey are up there too, but I think to get another one done and over the line is just an incredible achievement. We've become we need more trophies to come, but hopefully it's the start of some more regular trophies now. This is our 3rd in 7 seasons, our 2nd in 3 seasons. Hopefully we can get a couple more and make these into sort of proper glory years, like in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah,
I think the other thing about it, that finals day, was that so many good players were missing. I think that
one more.
It's
one
just
more thing I was just going to say, if no one else is speaking, is we are now statistically the best county in T20 cricket. Just the fact that we've won 3, and we've been in more finals than anyone else. Obviously, Hampshire and Leicestershire have also won 3, but they've only been in 3 or 4 finals. We've been in 8 finals now.
Yeah, but they've got a better strike rate than us. So does that make them better, or does that make us better? Who knows? Sorry, I don't know if you heard Gibbo was talking. I don't know if you didn't hear him at your end. Gibbo, sorry, you were.
I was just saying it's a real shame. The scheduling is just diabolical. But this is one of the pinnacles of the domestic season. It should not be clashing with international cricket, so that the full panoply of English talent and overseas players as well. And even though next season it's going to be in July, the final, so sides will be more or less the same as they've been during the qualifying stages, it clashes with an England against India white ball series. So the likes of Joss Butler and Tom Banton and all the others probably won't be available. I just, the ECB and the Blast, I just don't know what is going on. But there does seem to be an agenda to belittle the Blast and big up the 100, and the passion that you get in the Blast, because people are so committed to their teams, whereas in the 100 is just entertainment. They're artificial constructs that vary from one year to the next. There's no commitment. There's no passion. It's and yet the ECB just seem to be working against county cricket. This is what really worries me. I'm a great believer in the county game, and the Blast is a fine example of the short form cricket in the county context, and that's what makes it so exciting, and that's what made yesterday so much more meaningful to everyone in the sort of cricket watching community than the completely insignificant final of the 100 with Oval Invincibles beating the Trent Rockets. It's
so I feel I missed an opportunity yesterday, Anthony, because I did see Richard Thompson and have a bit of a chat with him for a while, and he said to me that what an amazing occasion it was today, and this was the premier. Well, I don't know if he said it was the premier domestic competition, but he was waxing lyrical about how important this day was, and that what a shame it was that the best players weren't playing in all the teams, and something should be done. Now he's the boss, not me. Well, exactly, no, exactly. But I wish I had known at that moment yesterday that there's an England-India series clashing with it, because that would have been the obvious retort. So I now need to find another way to resume that conversation, or have someone else resume that conversation for us, because definitely, the intent from what he was saying was that this ought to be a competition, certainly in the latter stages where our top players are performing.
I mean, it is as well, and it is. Finals Day is something uniquely English, because it is a stupid idea to put all of your semi-finals and final on one day when it could absolutely piss down with rain and everything could go completely wrong. But that's what we do, because it's just something it's unique. It's a daft idea, but there's a lot of daft ideas that you keep on doing because it's tradition, and people love it, and people they'll still sell out Edgbaston, bearing all that in mind. It is a ridiculously long and expensive day, but you see some great cricket. You chat to great people.
But we ought to see the best players playing in it.
You do. That's absolutely right. And I mean, it's you cannot honestly say that you do not feel any sort of empathy for sides who are losing their best players to the 100. I mean, to the England side, the England series that's clashing. I want to have a quick word about Tom Banton as well. But Gibber, when you were talking about the 100 versus Blast, there was a word that popped into my head, and that word is parasite. So I quickly Googled the OED definition of parasite. Here we go. Parasite, noun, an organism that lives in or on an organism of another species, its host, and benefits by deriving nutrients at the other's expense. So tell me that is not the 100's relationship to county cricket.
Yeah, well, my until we see the money that's coming in. It's the cuckoo in the nest. It's the bird that when it hatches pushes everything else to one side, almost literally in cricket terms, because it pushes everything to one side because it's got the whole of August to itself. So everything else has to be crammed in, including white ball series against India, which then clash with the final of the Blast next season. We're not going to get rid of the 100, but I do think the ECB has a responsibility to the rest of the game to make sure it isn't compromised by the 100 to the extent that it is now, whether that's Test cricket with 5 tests against India having to be compressed into about 6 weeks in order to keep it August free, or now where we've got white ball series against South Africa, which clashed with the Blast final, and they really need to think about their priorities. And Richard Thompson and Richard Gould, they say all the right things about county cricket, and they do all the wrong things, and that's got to change.
Can't they just sell it to Saudi Arabia and play it in February? Wouldn't that be a good idea? Saudis splashing money, sport washing left, right, and centre. Get it out of our calendar, stick it in February. Keep the same players, give them a big old payday. Everyone's a winner. Speaking of England white ball series, I just want to quickly touch on Tom Banton and what is the point of batting him at 6? Because he's an opener. And if you're not going to play him as an opener, don't pick him. Pick Lewis Gregory instead. Even though that would have meant we lost him for finals day and potentially wouldn't have won. But why are you playing him out of position? Because it is massively different batting in the middle order in T20 cricket to batting at the top of the order.
Couldn't agree more.
Why are they doing it? I don't know. Does Banter now come back to Taunton and say, my only international future is batting at 6, so can I bat at 6, please?
Yeah,
What do
the
we say
problem with
then?
that is he faces less you face less balls at 6. You make less of a statement at 6. You know, it's more difficult to consistently get runs game after game and really make that statement to the English selectors. But the English selectors, I mean, maybe there's no decent 6s or 7s available. I don't know. I need to have a think and
We've
see.
got one.
Yeah,
We've
well,
got
yeah.
a brilliant one.
Yeah. He has been very good this year, Gregory, to be fair. Yeah. Maybe they need to have another look. You know, because
I think he can bowl as well, you know.
Well, yeah.
He can just about turn his arm over, but anyway.
Yeah. Can I just just say quickly? Yeah, Gibbo's not coming through at my end, which is why I think I accidentally interrupted him possibly just now. So I apologise very much, Gibbo. But yeah, the last 10 minutes or so, for some reason, for me, you're not there, so I can't hear you or anything. So I may have accidentally interrupted you just now. So I'm very sorry.
You did accidentally.
Dan's
making a brilliant point about the 100. No one's speaking. Right, here we go.
Yeah, sorry.
Anyway.
And the things he's been saying about you, Dan.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, right. Finals day then. Love it. Absolutely love it. What a day. Absolutely exhausted, but wouldn't change it for the world. Well, I would change it. I'll put it back in July, which is what they've done for next year. So, well done for that. Right. Championship starts again tomorrow. 10:30 playing. Hampshire again. So they're having to spend the night in Party Town, Taunton, with everybody returning from Edgbaston today, celebrating Somerset's trophy win. So let's hope they have a good night's sleep for tomorrow. Only thing that kind of jumped at me was Shoaib Bashir has been named in the squad.
Yeah.
I expect that is because
ECB orders.
ECB orders / farewell game at Taunton, maybe.
No, I think it's probably ECB orders. And where's he going to go? Nobody seems to want him. Poor chap.
Is Gibbo speaking, or am I allowed to speak?
Gibbo's speaking. So
Gibbo's asked
this is going to be really great for the
going.
listeners if I have to repeat everything Gibbo says back to you. Where's Bashir going to go? I mean, somebody will take him, surely. I mean, I was shot down for making this point a few months back, but somebody will take purely, even if he may even stay with us, because if ECB are going to pay his wages on a central contract,
we haven't offered him a contract.
Have they not?
No.
Gibbo said they haven't offered him a contract. But if McCullum said yesterday that he's going to be the number one spinner in the Ashes, so that kind of tilts to the fact that he will be offered a central contract. So who knows? But then he just becomes. It's then kind of up to him, isn't it? If his agent's going around saying, "Do you want Shoaib Bashir? He's on a central contract. ECB are going to pay his wages. Yeah, we'll have him." So it's kind of he'll pretty much go wherever he wants, I guess.
It'd be terrible if he played for us tomorrow and he took 8 wickets and the game was over in a day and a half. You know, we could have another pitch inspection. It's dangerous, isn't it? What jeopardy?
Oh, well, yeah, that's still to come, isn't it? Given the window between Hampshire getting docked 8 points for their pitch in May against Sussex, and Durham was a month ago. I know it's quite a while. July.
3 months ago.
22nd of July.
End of June.
Well, let's
Somerset v Durham, Taunton, 22nd of July. I'm on July?
Yeah, that's
July.
right.
Yeah. So we can expect to find out probably Christmas Day.
Well, let's just make sure we finish 20 or 24 points ahead of the relegation zone then, to make sure we can relegate accidentally post-season. Christ.
Oh, well.
If it's 20 points, which is what the strong rumour is, then we will be 17 points clear of Durham, who are in the second relegation position.
If it's 20 points, we'll be 17 points ahead of Durham in the second relegation position. Sorry, I'm going to have to repeat what you said. Modern technology. Right. This is getting a little bit fast. There was something else that I wanted to mention, which is, it was in my head and now it's gone, but it was important.
But it's Somerset women, which we haven't covered.
Yes, you quickly talk about Somerset women. Finished off their Metrobank campaign with their first win at Taunton in 50 over cricket.
It was, yeah.
At the Cooper Associates County Ground, sorry.
Yeah, indeed, yeah. Yeah, we basically had to win with a bonus point, and we did. We had an absolutely brilliant win over Warwickshire. I mean, Warwickshire looked like a relatively weakened side, to be honest. They're missing their England players plus other players, I think. They had a few youngsters playing. But yeah, still a great effort from us. Bowled them out for 175. Chased it down in 27.1 overs. Got the job done incredibly efficiently. So we had to chase it down in 40 overs to get a bonus point. So we did that with 13 overs to spare. So we had to basically do that and then hope that Durham beat Surrey without a bonus point. But unfortunately, Durham got nowhere near beating Surrey. So unfortunately, that means we have not qualified for the semi-finals. But I think we can still say that it's been a season of progress in the 50-over format compared to Western Storm, who finished bottom each of the last 2 years in the Rachel Hale Flint Trophy. To just miss out on the semi-finals is clearly good progress. I think quite a few youngsters have come through and made, they have made valuable contributions throughout the season in both formats. Obviously, we weren't that good in T20 overall, but I think we've seen a visible improvement from quite a few players, which is great. There's also exciting talent coming through the academy. A few names just off the top of my head. There's Jasmine Wesley, Layla Moldina, and Elle Goldsworthy, who is not the same spelling as Lewis Goldsworthy because there's no D in it's Goldsworthy. So they are not related. But those three, I've not really seen them play, but they are scoring lots of runs for the academy. So we'll be seeing them very soon, hopefully. So there's some names to look out for
we'll
in
be
the
seeing
future.
lots of them
so yeah,
in 2026, I
bright,
assume, is what you're going to say.
Hopefully next year we can qualify
no,
for
the
at
point
least
I was
one
going to
knockout
make, right,
stage.
there was
that's
an
the next step,
article by Richard Gibson, I'm not sure if he's
we've got a
related to you or not,
coach
but the
coming
Daily
in.
Mail,
Trevor
and it
Griffin
was
has
behind
done
a paywall on Mail Plus. And the bit that you saw before the paywall kicked in was Somerset signing too. And I'm like, oh, who's this? I'm like, oh, and I couldn't find a way. I was trying to put it in reading mode and copy and paste it before the paywall popped up. Couldn't get it. So signed up for my free Mail Plus online trial. Got a week free or monthly.
Josh Shaw is one of them.
Well, no, not Josh Shaw. It wasn't even that. It was two players who are already fucking playing for us. Jake Ball, another contract, and that Bryce Street, who's playing in the seconds. So go to cancel. Oh, you've got to ring up the number. Rung up the number. No, couldn't get through or whatever. I'm sure there's a rule that if you sign up for a service online,
do you think Keaton Jennings might
online as well?
Do you think Keaton Jennings might be coming our way?
Well, somebody posted about this on Twitter when you spoke to Sarge last week, which, by the way, fair play to them to Sarge for stepping up and having a chat about all that was going on and sort of giving communication out. I think sometimes we get a little bit too demanding as members and supporters as something goes, oh, why have they done this? Why have they done that? So, but yeah, when you said, are we signing a left-handed opener, were you prompted to ask that in anticipation of the release of the news that we are signing Keaton Jennings, or
just think we need a left-handed opening batsman?
Oh, no conspiracy then, or not one that you're willing to admit.
Matt Renshaw would do, but Keaton Jennings would do equally well.
Absolutely. I must
and he's not been very happy at Lancashire recently.
Well, definitely wasn't happy on Saturday morning. Not as unhappy as Liam Livingston was, though. Yeah, I wasn't the only Somerset fan to get taken in by that flagrant false advertising by the Daily Mail as well. I think James Bryce, who you see working in the shop, and our old friend Jacob Lunn as well, got done by it as well. So, yes, I should be on the phone to the Daily Mail first thing tomorrow morning. Does that conclude business for this afternoon? Well, this evening now?
Yeah.
See you tomorrow. Dark outside now. Oh, yes, of course. Yeah. Somerset's last home game.
I have the pleasure of hosting the Hampshire contingent tomorrow, so I shall be at my diplomatic best, talking about what a great advert it was for the game, the final yesterday, and how it was a good contest between two teams and all the rest of it. I've also been adjusting to village life, and I baked a cake today.
Oh, wow.
So Gibbo, I might. It's sort of thing that people do, is to bring in the commentator's cake, isn't it? Yeah. So Toppers gave me a slice of his cake once when I went to Chelmsford. So if I remember, and I can give the Hampshire committee the slip, I'll pop round the other side of the ground and bring you a slice of my cake, and you can tell me what you think.
Brilliant.
Fantastic. Yeah, your last chance to watch Somerset at the Cooper Associates County Ground this week. Monday to Thursday in the county championship, weather or indeed pitch permitting. Not sure when I'll be able to get up there, but I will obviously want to come up and say farewells and winter well to everybody for what is always seems like a long season, but then when you get here, it kind of goes downhill and it's sort of finished in the blink of an eye, which is always a shame. But as I say, the nights are drawing in, and as we were sat there freezing cold watching Somerset win the Blast last night, and I was steadfastly refusing to put my coat on because it was I started watching just in my Gillian t-shirt, and I'm like, I can't. But Will Smead and Lewis Gregory were hitting so many boundaries that the flamethrower things in front of us were keeping me warm for sort of little periods at times, so that was all right. It's been a good weekend, guys. Long may it continue.
Yeah.
Right.
Cheers, Shep.
See you all in the week.
Yeah.
All right.
Cheers, guys.
Right.
Bye.
Cheers,
Sing it!